back to the channel. Carrying on from the last episode where I started stripping out all the bits that are on the bench, the clutch and the oil pump chain, water pump chain and the big sprocket that basically sits in front of where the cam chain goes behind. As I said, I couldn't do the generator side. We pulled the cover off. The puller I had wasn't the right size. Straight online. Usual guys I always use, wemoto.com. I'll leave a link in the description. The puller arrived literally within a day, which is fantastic. So thank you to everybody at Wemoto. It is really important that I try and get this bike back on the road. So yeah, fantastic service. As I say, this is an M22 by 1.5 right hand thread. As I say, link in the description. So now we can concentrate on the generator side, get the cover back off again because I've just put it back in loosely. Obviously it's held in by the magnet. So we're going to spin the bike round, pull that out, use the puller and get the rotor off. Everything is still on the bench as we left it. So all the clutch is in situ as it goes back in. I've laid all the parts out. I'm going to give some of these a clean up. From the generator side, obviously that's the clutch cable bracket that fits onto the generator cover. That needs a real good clean up. Also the other two parts, these are the radiator stays that bolt on to the front cylinder. So they literally sit like that and then the radiator clips in place. Again, they need a really good clean up. Cylinder heads as we left them from a previous episode. Just going to leave them to one side so they're basically ready to go. I just need to have a look to see if there's actually a washer or a seal for the water pipe entry into the chamber. But no, literally, so we can crack on, we can get that other side out. So I'm going to spin the bike round and then we'll take off that generator cover. Right, so everything was put back in loosely. So let's just remove the two caps. I didn't tighten them up, so. And it's just release. I say these were only loosely put back in, so let's just release these. And let's pull off the cover. Again, it will have some resistance because of the magnet. All right, and away that comes. That is the other type of puller I've got. Works really on the same process. This part screws in and then you can actually use the actual bar, but again there's different sizes that are on it. Alright, so that should be 17mm. wind the bolt in. Right, let's undo the, say, loosely fitted again, the centre bolt. Right, now for the puller. Right, for those of you that haven't seen, there are different types of puller. This is the type for XL1000, and I'd imagine it would be the same for the VTRs. So literally there's a screw thread just inside. Screw that in. Just need to get a spanner just to tighten that slightly, and I'll also dig out the other type of puller I've got, which I think I showed you in the previous episode, but I'll dig it out just so you can have a look. Alright, ended up using, actually lower the ABBA stand back down to the ground, used a breaker bar. But there's the rotor. Right, I'll have a look inside in a second. Right, so now that's off, that actually exposes the cam chain. I may have to, I don't know if I can, I may have to release one of these sliders. I don't know if I have enough clearance. Actually, no, that comes out. So that's the front chain, that's going to be replaced. Again, just having a look inside. Need to clean this gasket off, but not seeing any damage. Actually, there's actually some scoring just here. Alright, that's probably a better view. I think that's primarily where the chain was slipping so much and going loose, where the tensioner had failed. Actually, it's better without the light. Yeah, so there's a bit of scoring just there, and there. So I think I caught it quick enough. At least that side's out. So that's the bolt from that. Again, we'll have a look at the rotor and the sprag sprocket behind. Ended up having to take the bolts out. So they're the top two where this bracket goes. But yeah, glad to have got that out. So that's how you release both cam chains, one from either side. So now it's a case of clean up this case, clean up the generator case, and clean up the clutch cover, and obviously the gasket on the clutch the other side that needs cleaning off the crankcase surface. Have a quick clean up of the rotor, and then freshen up these brackets and stays. And then we can start looking at reassembly. Right, so that's all the old gasket stripped off and the surface cleaned. And the same with the actual generator cover. What was on there, it's all been stripped off and cleaned. And nice mess on the floor. All I've got to do now is just do the same for the clutch cover, and same on the crankcase the other side, and I'll show you after that's done. Alright, so that's the clutch cover on the crankcase side. All the gaskets removed, surface has been cleaned. Actually took longer than I thought. And also I've done the surface on the actual clutch cover itself. Again, gently scraped off the gasket. And then clean the surface. So next bit I'm going to do, got the bench grinder all set up. I'm just going to run these brackets, or that bracket and these stays, under the wire wheel just to take all the rough surface off. I'll give them some paint, and then I'm going to put on one of the scouring wheels. I've already started doing this by hand, but that one doesn't come up too bad. But again, give that a clean. Then the rubber O-rings that are on both are going to be replaced, and then we'll give the rotor a quick clean up, and that cam chain is fit for the bin. And also I want to give the water pump cover a bit of a clean. So this episode is mainly sort of cleaning, just making sure everything's nice. Give these a clean up, just wipe them over with a rag. Same with the clutch basket. So I'm just going to run these under the wire wheel, and I'll bring you back as soon as they're done. Right, so I've gone through everything, given it a clean through. I actually might keep these brackets as they are, sort of a silvery colour, but everything's been cleaned. Cleaned all the water pump cover. All that's left to do on this is remove the actual gasket. That'll be replaced. And then just pop the bolts back in. All these sprockets I've given a clean. Cleaned out the clutch basket as well. So literally everything is cleaned and basically ready to go back in. So as I say, we'll probably start the reassembly in the next episode. I'm actually debating whether to start with the front cylinder. Get the actual cam chain back in place on, you can see it, the sprocket just sits at the back there. There we go. That's the actual sprocket from from the crankshaft. So it actually sits on that. So slide it up through and then out this side. Then we can put the rotor back in and then finish this side up, put the gasket on, put the generator cover back in, bolt that back in. I'll check the torque settings. Yeah, so I think next episode we'll actually start on this side, the front. Get the front one done. The actual timing marks are actually on the rotor. So, if you can see it, that's the RT. I've lost the FT. And that's the FT. So you've got the FT mark there and the RT mark there. So yeah, I think that would be the best option, is we'll actually go in and start reassembling this side. One thing I did forget to actually mention when we took this apart is the woodruff key was actually still in there. Luckily, they can drop, so obviously if you pull it out and there's nothing there, it's dropped somewhere, which is also helpful if you've got the sump off still. Yeah, so we'll put the rotor back on, well, put the cam chain on first, then put the rotor back in, and then we can start reassembly of the front cylinder. See if we can get that done in one video, and then we'll move to the rear. Right, so thanks for joining me on that one. It was just literally cleaning, really, just obviously getting the rotor off and just cleaning up all the parts that have come off. So the stays haven't come out that bad actually, so I'll leave them as they are. And the actual bracket for the clutch cable. I could probably go a bit further in on these covers, but I don't see the point on that one. But they're clean. That's the main thing. As I say, everything else behind has been cleaned. All this side is for the clutch side. So, water pump cover in there as well. So that we'll deal with in a separate episode. But as I say, next episode we'll actually get this rotor reinstalled, get the cam chain in, get the rotor installed, and then we'll start on the front cylinder, get the front cylinder back together, get it timed up to the FT mark, top dead centre, put all that back together, and I think the last thing that will go in will be the actual new cam chain tensioner. Any comments in the comments box below? You know I really appreciate all your feedback, all your support. I can't emphasise enough how much it means, the support I've got and the great comments. It's a real help for me. Really, really appreciate it. I know I say it a lot, but it does mean a lot to have the support I've got from everybody that watches, everybody that comments. It's great. So keep them coming. As I say, link in the description. Link in the description to my Facebook page if you want to pop across there, say hello. There's loads of people on there. That page is growing. I'm trying to spend as much time as I can on these pages, but it's difficult at the moment, but I will be back. Instagram, I'm way behind on Instagram, so I need to catch up on Instagram as well. But as I say, at the moment, it's just not feasible. I'm trying to get this bike done, so unfortunately, something has to give. And as I say, I'm behind on Facebook. I get on there when I can. Well behind on Instagram, but I will be updating as soon as possible. Patron is exactly the same. I'm so far behind on Patron. Like I always say in most videos, I really appreciate my patrons and the support they give me. All I can do is I apologise for how far I am behind on Patron. As soon as I can get chance and things sort themselves out, I will get back on Patron and spend a lot more time. As usual, links to other videos, top left and top right. Normally a best for viewer and a playlist. Go check them out. As I say, there's plenty of playlists up there now. There's the ST, the Hayabusa, Z650. I'm updating the Varadero as I go. Minimoto, and even some touring ones if you want something totally different. But as usual, thanks for watching. Join me again next time. Cheers. Bye.